progressivism, which is a misnomer, by the way, or communism, which all is different names of the same thing, then you end up with somebody who gets into office who calls themselves a Republican that doesn't understand that it's a socialist role to micromanage the industries and the businesses and stuff like that.
Yeah, but one time he was for single payer.
I don't. You know what? I'd love to hear him explain.
And that's great.
That.
If you say that you're reading these articles out there that he was once for single payer, okay.
I may have even heard a soundbite of him saying that, but I would like to either hear him say, "Well, here's what I mean by that," or "Here's why I believe in that," or hear him say, "Well, you know what? I did believe that at one time, and I changed." You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I used to believe in back in the day that I look back at now and I'm like, wow. Wish I could jump in a time machine and wring my neck. Like, you slap myself up the face, upside the face a couple times.
I mean, to evolve from these things and to grow up and to educate yourself and to learn and to see. I mean, it seems like every other day I'm learning something new still in my 20s.
Oh, yeah.
It's just... I mean now, in my 20s, I'm learning something new every day.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
You're such a liar. A liar.
No,
but if you do, but here's my question, though. Just kind of getting off on a tangent a little bit. In 20 years from now, are we going to listen to this and say, whoo, we were way off base?
No, because we're talking about freedom and competition amongst businesses. It is a proven fact that businesses that compete against themselves without the molestation of the government.
No, I agree with you, because here's why. I believe I've turned over all the stones, or most of them. When it comes to ideology and philosophies and all that kind of stuff, I've turned over an awful lot of stones that were left unturned back when I was in my 20s.
Shut it again.
There's going to be...
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is going to be competition among all of the states and
Boom.
the insurance companies. They're going to have many, many different plans.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
Okay, she said, is there anything else you'd like to add to that? And he said, no!
It's capitalism!
And why he did not throw out that word.
He might as well. I don't know.
Maybe if he did, if he threw out the word capitalism, they might take that word, run with it, and start painting him as this greedy capitalist.
He's greedy. Greedy.
Dirty.
He wants to take money from the poor.
Steal
it blows my mind. Mark Levin says it best. Capitalism is the voluntary exchange of money for goods and services from the person that wants something from somebody who does the best job of providing it.
Okay, so I got this. Here's the highlights from that debate.
Okay.
It's just a minute long. I got a plan here. Here's the highlights, and then Rubio has complete. I have somebody close to me who was down with Rubio for a minute. Okay? After hearing the things that Rubio did this week, they are absolutely repulsed by him. Rubio has literally jumped off the bridge and hit an abutment when he jumped off the bridge.
We knew that was going to happen eventually because he's just an establishment gang of 8 guy. But anyway, go ahead. Do you have it?
Yeah, we're getting ready to play that soundbite.
This guy's a joke artist, and this guy's a liar.
Oh, this was compiled by CNN, by the way.
Oh.
So just to give you a heads up.
So there's a lot of fluff.
Right.
Well, you don't know anything about business.
Well, I don't know anything about bankrupting 4 companies.
Where was Donald? He was firing Dennis Rodman on Celebrity Apprentice.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
If he builds the wall the way he built Trump Towers, he'll be using illegal immigrant labor to do it.
He lied, 100%.
If he hadn't inherited $200 million, you know where Donald Trump would be
no,
right now?
that's a lie.
Watches in Manhattan.
This is another area on which Donald agrees with Hillary Clinton.
I think Bush did a hell of a bad job. First of all, very few people listen to your radio show. That's the good news.
A lot of these positions that he's now taking are new to him.
When you say crazy zealot, are you talking about you?
You may not be aware of this, Donald, because you don't follow this stuff very closely.
Yeah, I know you're embarrassed. I know you're embarrassed, but keep fighting. Keep swinging, man. Swing for the fences. I watched him melt down, and I'll tell you, it was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. We had a lot of fun up here tonight, I have to tell you.
Okay.
I like the reaction of the crowd. Yeah!
Okay, so you have these things. Check this out. So Rubio, I thought it was in that soundbite. Rubio, during the debate, when he said, if you hadn't had that $200 million
Inherited.
Did he say $200 million?
Yeah, and of course, Trump corrected him. He said
$2 million?
It was a $1 million loan.
Okay, so let's go back to the $200 million because that sounds so much better.
Why would you say that?
So
it's not even close.
But he followed that up with, Rubio did, with if he hadn't had that $200 million loan, he'd be on the streets selling watches.
Okay.
And then Trump was blasting him. After the debate was over, Trump was approached by a CNN, was approached by CNN and talked to, and they'd say, hey, we found out about that watch thing and what that was all about.
Well, oh, you mean it was inside?
Like Rubio was doing. Just listen and we'll talk about it.
All right.
During that debate, as it was going on,
Rubio started on his website selling watches as a pretend gimmick to say that they were watches that would have been yours or you would have been selling, but they're just donations for him. It was a quick response during the actual debate. What do you make of the move?
The problem with Marco, he's a choke artist. He chokes, and he did it in front of Chris Christie. I've never seen anything like that. I was standing right next to him. I look over. I say, "Are you okay?" I mean, it looked like he just came out of a swimming pool. He was soaking wet, and he kept repeating himself.
He tried to use that on you tonight.
No, but I didn't do any repeating. I mean, I just say what's needed. I didn't do that. But he really, we can't have a choke artist. One thing I've learned from sports, I was actually a very good athlete. When you're a choker, you're always a choker. We can't have that. We can't take any chances.
Good point. That's true.
How long, now that you're starting to get the votes in and you're at the top, do you think that people should start thinking about leaving this race?
Yeah.
I think so, but, it's not for me to say. I would say that a few of them maybe should. And, Marco, I'm 20 points up on him in Florida, right? And with Cruz, I'm even. It seems the last polls, I'm even in Texas and winning every other state. I think so. I think it's going to be over fairly quickly, and I don't think there's going to be a convention.
So let me break this down for you. Marco Rubio, in connection with the GOP establishment, decided that they were going to use this line, $200 million.
Okay, I wonder why, because
and we're going to accuse him of some shyster, some snake oil dude selling watches. Now, I don't know if you know, and maybe it goes on in New York, but when I spent some time in Italy, and in Italy, on the streets of Italy, everybody has these boxes of watches.
Oh, it was like that in Korea.
Okay, and they're like, it says Bolova.
Yeah,
it says Rolex.
Korea has that same thing.
Okay,
and I think Mexico too. When we were in Algodones,
it was $7.
Yeah,
right.
It was like that in Algodones. In fact, when we went to Korea and with the street vendors, I mean, they're like back to back, side to side, all the way. It was very similar to Mexico. It's like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's cool. It's free market capitalism, but they're all fake.
And you learn very quickly as a kid. I picked up the watch. I looked at it, and the second hand was laying in the.
Oh, well, because it was defective, so they gave it to him.
That's what I said to him. I said, "Hey, what, that ain't supposed to be like that." He said, "Oh, okay, give me
Special
that
feature.
Here, you want this one?
You want the one that it's not falling off." Oh no!
So that's what. I mean, I know that's what Rubio was trying to say, that's the kind of vendor he would be.
Okay.
So they devise this, they wrap this up, and they throw it out there. Who in their right mind thought that it would be a good idea to do this? It's just awful. Anyway, so then that's when Trump comes out and says, chokester, choke on. I mean, he was choking so bad, it was like he come out the swimming pool, and he was all... When he said,
I looked over at him. I said, "Are you all right?" Dude, that is the perfect thing he could have possibly said because it shows compassion.
Okay, so check this out. Remember a long time, well, maybe a while ago, you wrote an article or at least talked to me about bringing back bullying.
Oh, Okay.
Okay? Now, I'm not saying that Trump's a bully. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, Rubio represents that kid in school that was protected and never got roughed up, and he was never the cool kid, but he was just never nothing. He just kind of getting through, and a smart kid, whatever, just getting through. Trump went to school, and he was probably bare-knuckle brawling in the locker room, playing pranks, doing stuff, and that's what boys do. Boys used to do that.
You're right.
We used to take towels and we would, rat towel and snap each other in the bear behind, and really, oh my goodness. Let me tell you the welts that left. It was brutal.
The hazing and all that kind of stuff.
Right, but it was tongue in cheek. It was fun and games, and yeah,
the problem with hazing is that with young boys who are starting to get older and stronger, I mean, there could be an accident and somebody could die.
Yeah.
That's the problem with hazing. But I don't necessarily, if it wasn't for the fact that you got...
I'm not going with hazing.
Yeah.
Hazing, but the word hazing is just...
It just reminded me of that when you're talking about snapping, the towels and hitting people and stuff like that.
Now, the worst player on the football team would usually get the brunt of that.
Okay.
And probably wind up quitting.
Okay.
It just happened. It's a weeding out process. It's a selection process. The coaches can't tell you can't be on the high school team.
Okay.
You can go out for the team if you pay for it.
Okay.
Pay for the uniform and stuff. You sit on the bench. But if you're in practice, whatever, and the team really doesn't want you, they'll get rid of you somehow. Okay. So that's kind of the school that Trump comes from. And when he says, I used to be a pretty good sportsman. I was pretty good at sports. I believe it. I believe he was a great... You don't
say that. You don't say that if it's not true.
Right. And Rubio could never say it because nobody would believe it. That's first off. But to be good, pretty good, and a good guy at sports, and to say it with confidence, he had to go through the hard knocks. He had to go through the tough times. And look how old he is. This was back in the day when the coaches probably beat you up. So what happens, too, is that when you're around those guys all those guys are cool. They're cool guys. They're all witty. They're all strong. They're all making you better. When he says, I looked over at him and said, hey, man, you all right? It's like he come out the swimming pool. He said that before. That's not a new line. That's something they used to say back in the day, man.
It was part of... So he wasn't being compassionate. It was just coming off... It was coming off as being compassionate.
Yes!
But really, it was a setup.
Yes!
It was a setup, because if you say you're all right, then you've endorsed the bully's behavior against you. Right. And if you say you're not all right, it becomes the butt of the joke for everybody.
Right.
It's a
lose-lose.
Yes,
lose-lose.
No-win situation.
And the only reason why Trump is good at that is because he's been on the lose-lose end many times. I'm sure of it. You don't become a good sports player by not being on a lose-lose.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough.
You got to learn how to lose before you can learn how to win.
Right. And what somebody said one time before, Trump has failed more times than anybody. And I
That's the most ridiculous. He did not fail as much as Thomas Edison. We know that.
Probably not.
Thomas Edison is the greatest failure that has ever lived. Yeah. He has mastered the failure.
Absolutely.
That's why he's been the most successful inventor in history.
And that's why Democrats and establishment like Rhino people come out and say, you're a failure. Because I bought all my successes.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't fail because, I was on the end.
Right.
I bought it.
Yeah, they have to buy it.
Right.
They're not going to go
there's
out
no way
do.
there's no way you cannot not fail. Remember, you read that, you pulled it up when I said that they were calling Donald Trump a failure, and you started reading the litany of things that Lincoln failed at.
Oh, yeah. There's a successories poster. It's true. That's the first place I seen it.
And that guy, that successory guy, multi